She said I was lucky to have her. So I took my luck and left her with nothing. There's a moment in every relationship that quietly reshapes your understanding of love. One you don't even notice until long after it's passed. Mine happened 6 months in. Tessa looked me in the eye during a lazy Sunday morning brunch, wearing one of my oversized hoodies, sipping from a coffee mug I'd brought her the first time she stayed over. Her voice was clear, deliberate. "You're lucky I even chose you." She didn't smile after saying it, didn't laugh. There was no teasing glint in her eyes, no sarcastic curl at the corners of her lips. It wasn't a joke. It was a declaration, a truth she held about us. About me. I remember forcing a chuckle, brushing it off like it was nothing. She had a way of sounding harsh even when she didn't mean to, or at least that's what I told myself. Back then, I still believed people always meant well, even when their words stung. Especially the ones you loved. In those early months, the chemistry was undeniable. Weekend getaways, high-end dinners, lazy mornings wrapped in each other. She liked nice things, designer bags, boutique skincare, cocktail lounges with velvet booths and craft menus, and I didn't mind. I liked seeing her happy. I liked making her happy. Tessa sparkled in public. She demanded attention and always got it, whether she was walking into a room or simply posting an Instagram story. And I was okay being the shadow behind the spotlight. Someone had to hold the camera. She had dreams, big ones. She wanted to be an influencer, a model, a name people whispered with envy. I didn't mock her for it. I supported her in every way I could. I bought her first ring light, took hundreds, maybe thousands, of photos. I learned editing apps, lighting setups, even studied angles so she looked perfect in every shot. When she said she wanted to cut back on her retail hours to focus on her online presence, I picked up the slack. Looking back, I realized I was slowly becoming less of a partner and more of a platform. Her compliments always had qualifiers. "Thanks for dinner. But next time, ease up on the garlic." Or, "That's cute. Did Leah help you pick it?" Every good thing I did came with an asterisk. Every argument ended with her reminding me I was replaceable. That I should feel lucky. That any day she could find someone better. First, I laughed it off. Then I started to believe it. The shift wasn't sudden. It happened over time, like a ceiling dripping water drop by drop until the entire room floods and you're still standing there trying to pretend it's just a little leak. She began making more comments about how men are all the same, how they beg for her attention, how she could upgrade anytime she wanted. I didn't argue. I let her say her piece, told myself it was just insecurity talking, or venting. And then came that night. A random Tuesday, nothing special. We'd gone to one of those candlelit places she loved. Velvet chairs, muted jazz playing in the background, tiny plates with names I couldn't pronounce. Midway through her second drink, she started in on one of her rants. "You know," she said lightly, twirling her straw, "I could easily find 10 guys better than you. I don't even have to try." There was no fire in her voice, no edge. It was worse than anger. It was indifference, like she was stating the time or reading a menu. I stared at her for a moment, then said calmly, "Cool, go find one." She leaned back in her chair and smiled. "You'll come crawling back. You always do." She wasn't wrong. I had before. I'd let things slide. I'd hoped she'd change. Hoped she'd wake up one day and realize what she had. But something in me shut off that night. It wasn't rage. It was clarity. When we got home, she flopped on the couch, still scrolling TikTok. I lay in bed with my laptop, not aimlessly like before, but with purpose. I started listing every subscription, every bill, every C. And that's when the idea bloomed. Operation. Let's see how you survive without me. The next morning, she kissed me goodbye, groaned about not having enough oat milk, and left for Pilates. Meanwhile, I was busy deleting her from every account, unsubscribing from every service she took for granted. I didn't yell. I didn't explain. I didn't slam doors or make dramatic threats. I just unplugged, one by one. The apartment was in my name, always had been. So I filed a 30-day notice, found a sleek one-bedroom across town, and planned the move around her girls' night schedule. Every time she went out drinking with her friends, I boxed a little more of my life up. Just my life. I didn't touch anything that was hers. Left her vanity untouched. Her overflowing wardrobe. Her stack of vision boards. All of it. But the couch? Mine. The Wi-Fi? Mine. The fridge I always stocked? Gone. The cards she used like oxygen? Closed. On the last night before I moved out, I left one single note on the empty kitchen counter, written in black Sharpie. Time to see what being independent really feels like. She came home past midnight. I wasn't there to see it, but I can imagine it clearly. Keys jangling, heels clicking, walking in expecting to gossip about her night and collapse onto the couch I bought. Instead, she walked into an echoing apartment. No lights, no comfort.
No me.
Just silence. And the note. She called. I didn't pick up. Then the texts came. Where are you? Is this a joke? You're seriously disappearing over one argument? But it wasn't one argument. It was years of being treated like I was the backup dancer in a show I was producing. For a full week, I kept my phone on Do Not Disturb. I walked into my new apartment, alone but free. No pressure to perform. No guilt for not being enough. For once, I didn't feel the constant weight of someone else's needs riding on my back. That's when I realized I wasn't punishing her. I was saving myself. I didn't expect what came next. First, she played it quiet. Then the Instagram stories started. A black and white selfie. Mascara smudged. Captioned, abandoned. Broke. Heartbroken. But still standing. I didn't react. Didn't comment. Didn't text. I just watched. Not with smugness. Not with anger. Just quiet disbelief. Because even now, in the middle of her downfall, she was crafting a narrative where she was the victim. Where I was the monster who left her with nothing. But that's the thing. She never had nothing. She had everything. I gave it to her. And now I was finally taking it back. The first time I opened my DMs after the storm started, I was almost impressed. The girl who once said she could manipulate a brand deal out of a tweet had managed to manipulate real people with half a caption and a sad filter. My inbox was flooded. Bro, what did you do to her? She says you ghosted her and left her with nothing. That's cold. You left her homeless? There's something almost poetic about how quickly a crowd will defend someone they don't know based on a single story, especially when it's curated for sympathy. For a while I stayed silent. I didn't know anyone an explanation. But silence has weight, and when you've been invisible in a relationship long enough, there comes a time when you need your side out in the open. Not for them, not even for her, but for you. So I posted one thing. No names. No anger. Just a single line on my story, white text on black. Paying for everything for 4 years and finally walking away isn't evil. It's called self-respect. That was it. It hit harder than I expected. A few of her followers messaged me privately. Some apologized for assuming. Others said they had a feeling things weren't what she made them seem. But mostly the guilt campaign kicked into a higher gear. That very night, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I let it ring out. Seconds later, a voicemail. Hi, this is Tessa's mom. Look, I know we haven't talked much, but she's really struggling. She says she's going to lose her car. She's devastated. Can you, I don't know, maybe just talk to her? I turned around, looked her straight in the eye. Do you miss me? Or the version of me that paid your rent, bought your groceries, and got blamed every time something didn't go your way? She blinked, stunned, as if the thought had never once occurred to her. She opened her mouth, closed it again. I didn't wait for her to answer, just walked away. That was the last time we spoke face to face. What came after was quieter, but more telling. A week later, I ran into Leah, one of Tessa's old friends, at a wine bar. We always got along back in the day, never crossed any lines. But that night, we actually talked, like two real adults who weren't putting on shows for anyone. Turns out Leah had seen it all. The way I was treated, the way I bent over backwards, the way Tessa took and took and took. You were too good to her, she said. Way too good. She wasn't flirting. She wasn't scheming. Just honest. It was refreshing in a way I forgot people could be. We started meeting up. Slowly. No pressure. Just company. Someone who asked how I was doing, and actually waited for the answer. We're dating now. Casually. Honestly. Equally. She doesn't expect anything from me except for presence. She brings laughter, clarity, and a peace I didn't know I'd been starving for. For Tessa, she's working retail again. Moved back in with her aunt. Still posts the filtered photos. Still writes captions like, "Survivor energy," and "Starting over doesn't mean starting from scratch." Maybe she's healing. Maybe she's just adjusting. But honestly, it's not my story to follow anymore. The last message she ever sent me came 2 months after the move. One line, "You'll regret this. No one will ever love you like I did." I read it twice. Then I thought about all the nights I stayed up calculating her bills, fixing her messes, trying to make her happy when she didn't even know what that meant. And I replied, "You're right, and thank God for that." Then I blocked her. No follow-up.
No curiosity.
No need.